Bob Newhart, sitcom pioneer and beloved elf actor, dies at 94. Newhart approached comedy with economic precision, honing his craft by watching other comedians and seeing what they did well, especially his idol, Jack Benny. Bob Newhart, the former accountant who rose to comedy superstardom with a mathematical precision in timing a deadpan routine down to a decimal point, died Thursday, according to his publicist. He was 94. Newhart certainly looked the part of the weary everyman that he played so well on the comedy albums that launched his career and on the two major sitcoms that bore his name, The Bob Newhart Show, which ran on CBS from 1972 to 1978, and Newhart, which ran on the same network from 1982 to 1990. By the time he auditioned for the show during its third season, Scolari was already an established television veteran. Still, he was nervous enough reading opposite Newhart that he started stammering. That took the pressure off Scolari. He kind of set me on my path, the younger actor said. Newhart's own path included plenty of milestones along the way: 2 hit sitcoms and a major recurring stint on a third, a variety show, 14 feature films, and millions of albums sold. He won 3 Grammy Awards and 2 Emmys 5 decades apart, and the Mark Twain Prize for American Humor. Not bad for a kid from a blue-collar suburb of Chicago. Born on Sept. 5, 1929 in Oak Park, Illinois, the son of a part owner of a plumbing supply company and a homemaker and the brother of 3 sisters, there was little in the first 30 years of his life to foreshadow the success that would come over the next 6 decades. The product of a Catholic upbringing, one of his sisters, Mary Joan, became a nun. Newhart seemed destined for a proper button-down job, especially after graduating with a business degree from Loyola University of Chicago in 1952. A local disc jockey, though, had heard enough of Newhart to make an introduction to the head of Warner Brothers Records, according to Newhart's official bio. The resulting contract led to the album The Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart and almost instant fame before Newhart even had a chance to establish himself on the stand-up circuit. Not that it mattered. Once the album landed, he became a sellout draw in nightclubs and theaters across the country. The Button-Down Mind of Bob Newhart became the first comedy album to reach no. 1 on the Billboard charts. People kept telling me, "You're funny, you should go to New York." And I said, "I'm going to give this a shot." Newhart told Today in 2017, "I was just about to go back into accounting, and I got this recording contract." Most comedians, most stand-ups spend 20 years in the trenches. I had to learn at the top. It was tough. Newhart approached comedy with economic precision, honing his craft by watching other comedians and seeing what they did well, especially his idol, Jack Benny. One of Newhart's trademark shticks was doing phone calls in which only his half of the conversation could be heard, allowing the audience members to fill in the blanks with their imaginations. NBC handed the budding star his own variety show, The Bob Newhart Variety Show, which earned high praise and won the Emmy for Best Comedy Series in 1962, but low ratings. The show was canceled after just 1 season. Nary better fortune offstage. He married Virginia Jenny Quinn on Jan. 12, 1963, a marriage that would last until she died in 2023, and produced 4 children, sons Robert and Timothy, and daughters Jennifer and Courtney. He also became good friends with another popular comic of the era, Don Rickles, with whom he would travel across the globe on shared vacation with their wives over the ensuing years. Newhart released 7 more comedy albums and continued to dabble in television. He hosted NBC's Tonight Show for a 3-week stretch during one of Johnny Carson's salary disputes with the network. Newhart later said that he thought he was being groomed as a potential replacement for Carson. The perfect TV vehicle that had to date eluded him came in 1972 with the premiere of The Bob Newhart Show. Playing Dr. Bob Hartley, an exasperated psychologist and husband to a much more emotionally stable school teacher, Sam Plachette, provided the opportunity to perfect the straight man role that would mark much of the rest of his career. Over the show's successful 6-season run, he even got to use his trademark one-sided phone calls. 4 years after the end of his first major sitcom hit, Newhart debuted. The titular star played Dick Loudon, a do-it-yourself book author who is running a Vermont inn with his wife, played by Mary Fran. Once again, the joke was usually on him, as a collection of oddball friends, neighbors, and guests came and went from his orbit. But for all the joking going on in front of the studio audience, he was a consummate professional backstage, said William Sanderson, who played the local bumpkin Larry, whose brothers Daryl and Daryl perpetually followed in his wake. I quickly saw the way he treated the crew, which had a lot of the same people from his first show. He didn't believe in keeping the audience late at night. He would try to finish by 10 or 11 o'clock to get them home. Scolari, who played the producer of Loudon's television show in Newhart, became a real-life friend and golf buddy of his mentors over the course of the show. But he never stopped trying to keep up when the camera started rolling. If you made Bob Newhart laugh, I mean, come on, you must be somewhere in the right direction, said Scolari. And you don't get that just anywhere because there aren't too many iconic geniuses around. The similarity between the two lead characters he would be most associated with was so obvious that Newhart played it for laughs in the 1990 Newhart series finale. In that episode, Hartley wakes up next to his original on-screen wife in a role reprised by Plachette in one of the most memorable cameos in television history. To realize that the whole 8 seasons of the story, set in Vermont, had been just a dream. A one-trick pony should not be underestimated, said Robert Thompson, director of the Blear Center for Television and Popular Culture at Syracuse University, because if the one trick that pony does is good enough, it can last an entire career. If at the end of the act, it sprouts wings and flies away, you don't need any more tricks than that. Newhart struggled to find the same level of success in the 1990s with his next sitcom, Bob 1992, which lasted only 1.5 seasons. 5 years later, his next attempt at a signature show, George Leo, proved an even bigger disappointment, canceled in the midst of its first season. But Newhart managed a third act. He found renewed popularity in the 21st century with a memorable supporting role in the 2003 movie Elf, playing opposite Will Ferrell, and then a recurring role as the former host of a children's science show named Professor Proton on The Big Bang Theory.